Alright guys, this is a video I've been wanting to make. You may have seen the sonic comparison, the Gibson L-00 versus the Martin 018. These are two guitars that are reasonably priced. They're not cheap by any means, but probably won't break the bank with either of these. And since I did the sonic comparison, I thought I would talk about how it feels to play each one, how each guitar plays, and how it feels in your hands if you were to buy one of these. In other words, it's not going to be a one-to-one comparison of I'll play this song or that song. This is the Gibson L-00 here. It's got a sticky feeling on the neck because the whole neck is nitrocellulose just like the body. But this one has a neck profile I would say I prefer to the Martin. If I could have the smoothness of the Martin on this, it would be even better. This guitar has had a glaring quality control issue from the start, right about here. There's a store called Manchester Music Mill, and that's where I bought this from. And there was this very small ding here on right where my thumb is, and you can't see it on the camera, but it was there, and it was enough for them to put a piece of material, glue or something in there. And I said, "What's that?" And I touched it and I flicked it and it fell off. And I said, "So you do deals on these?" And I wound up getting 400 off or something. But still, it's foolish, and that comes down to quality control. Then later on, I noticed a slight bridge in the lift, a slight lift in the bridge, as well as this here. This little imperfection here, near the bridge. So that's very irritating to have something like that when you buy something brand new. I'm not going to go over specs in this, but I'll tell you how each one feels. This guitar compared to the Martin 018 is very well balanced though. I mean, look at it, it doesn't want to move at all. And they said the L-00s were balanced. I mean, like in terms of tone, like the pre-war ones and things like that are known for being very well balanced, because that was a cheap model at the time. It was probably like a week's pay. You know, now they go for 6,000-7,000 in beat up condition. So this one has the elixir strings on. Just give it a bold sound. And when I had Diodario strings on it, I'm not so sure. What I'd like to do is put these elixir strings on the Martin and really compare. So this guitar with that annoying quality control issues are my two main annoyances with it. And it's very heavy, this guitar, compared to not only my LG 2 3/4, it's very light compared to this. I know that guitar is overall smaller in just about every way, but this guitar is not super light. I know it's got the pickup system in it. So all I can tell you is based off my experience that maybe the Martins are more consistent in quality across the board. But this guitar has the pro of being very well balanced, because the Martin will dive. The Martin's completely playable, but it will dive compared to this. They just feel different. They do feel different. We're going to get into the differences. I got this one first, and then a little while later I got the Martin. And you guys know I've been having this guitar acquisition syndrome, and it's not good. I took just 2 clips off that last video and put it into shorts, but I don't think it finished processing before I deleted it. I don't know if you've ever done that. Delete a video while it's uploading, but no, I wasn't even planning on making a video. I was going to last night to get back on the harp again, but too tired. Just tired thinking about too many things. But I have been sitting down playing all these guitars, just like playing chords, saying which one would I sell if I had to sell one. But hear that big thunderous tone on this? I don't know how much of that is the strings, but it makes me not want to sell this guitar. See all my clothes. Yeah, it's all. See, that's the other thing I don't like about it. It's too reflective. That is the annoying thing about it. It's very reflective. The finish on it. Because I'm not well organized around here. And I got a reflective finish on it. The neck profile on this is slim taper, and if I'm correct, the old L-00s of the past had a very big, chunky V-shaped neck. But no, this is a thin neck, slim taper. However, this is a lot better than the advanced response on the L-00 Studio model, so avoid that at all costs. Really. So this neck is playable. It's just be aware that the finish on the neck is what makes it kind of sticky. And I remember when I would, but not by no means unplayable, but I remember back when I would record things obsessively and try to play over and over. Yeah, I would have wear on my hand the next day from being in that same spot repeatedly, because that stickiness eventually cause irritation on your hand. So don't play obsessively. But otherwise, it's a very nice looking guitar. The pick guard you can hardly see. The only thing I don't like on this is really the bridge pins. I'm not crazy about these, but they're fine. I mean, they serve their purpose. It's fine. Nice pick guard on this. Never plugged it in. I think these tuners are highly preferable to the what you would get on the standard versus the L-00 original. These open back tuners are much better than what you would get on the standard. So it comes down to, would you rather have the ebony finish or the sunburst? No. But let's pick up the Martin, and if something occurs to me, I'll say more about this. But let's just pick up the Martin for just a second. I gotta get this back in its case, though. The thing about the Martin case is that the Martin case has this strange quality that it makes it a pain to open it, actually. The Gibson case is a lot easier to open. I don't know why Martin does that. So even smaller. Let me close the case. I don't know if you should close the guitar case when you're not playing. Sometimes I do. So here we have the even smaller, the more formidable 018, which is a nice guitar in its own right. This one has no quality control issues. The bridge is fine. This guitar smells even better than the Gibson, but this one's a little bit newer. Needs new strings on it. Now this has that, whatever you call it, modified low oval slim taper, which I'm not in love with this neck profile. It's very flat. It's 100% playable. There's only one neck that I've found that I really couldn't play, and that was the advanced response on the Gibson Studio Acoustics. This is completely playable, but it's a little flat for me. And sometimes you have to make adjustments because it's a nice neck too. And I believe this aging toner that you see here, I don't know if it's the best lighting for it, but there's an aging toner on this, on all these reimagined guitars, right? I think that's what they put on like the D45s and stuff like that, an aging toner, like a golden looking appearance. So that's pretty cool. This also has similar tuners, but they're not 3 on a plate. The tuners, you can tell, are separated, but they're open back tuners, and they don't have butterbean knobs. These, the Gibson has the butterbean, so that's up to you what you like better. They're both fine. They both do their job. Like my vintage Gibson, the B string has some quirks to it, but these new guitars, they don't have anything wrong with them. They do fine. Listen, the open strings on this one too. See, it's not as bold as the Gibson. I'll play it again, then I won't say anything. Let you listen to it. And ever since I saw this guitar that will go unnamed in a certain shop that I'm a fan of, I've been going through all of my guitars thinking, which one would I sell? And then I was emailing the manager, and they weren't very great with their service. And this guitar I was looking at was supposed to pay for some guy's funeral, and I don't know about that. And it was shaved, the frets were shaved down. I just don't know. It's on a higher level than this. But this, I really like this. I don't think I would want to part with this, because it's... Do you want all your guitars to be used? No, I don't. That's something else to think about. Because in the other room, I have all my other stuff. Today it's spread out because I'm trying to get in position here. I never make videos out here, let alone in the daytime. But this guitar is nice too. And it's hard for me to say which one I would pick, because with those Elixir strings, this L-00 has a strange quality to it of just being so thunderous and just so boom. It's unusual. Whereas this, if you just play like, it can sound kind of rubber bandy at times. Sound like there's nothing there. Now for fingerstyle, I like that LG 2 3/4, but that doesn't have the same tension on the strings as these two guitars here. because of the short scale on that particular model. It was a student model, a budget model. I don't know about budget model, but it was meant, basically it was meant for students with either small hands or young kids that were playing. But it turns out that all these years later, it's a killer blues guitar, as it was then, but they only made so many of them, and each one seems to have their own characteristics, but it's got a whole different kind of string set up on it. So these two guitars are more similar. That's why I thought this was a more direct comparison. The Gibson L-00 original ebony, which cost $2,799 or something like that, or $2,699, something like that. And I bought these right before the price went up to $200 on all those reimagines. So this is a very similar price now to the 018. Could easily look that up. And there's a used 018s, that one, whatever. I like this one. You know, it's a good one. I've got my eye on a Martin, but I wouldn't feel good about selling really any of my main guitars that I bought myself. This one I find to be a little quiet, which I kind of find a little annoying when I'm trying to record off the phone, because it is quiet. But how does each one feel? Yeah, the Martin, they managed to feel very different. Somehow the Martin feels like it's of a better build quality. However, I'll tell you, on my vintage Gibson, not the L-00, but my vintage Gibson, it feels the wood is of a higher selection. So there's something to be said for wood of the past. I don't think that's like a myth. I think there's some truth to it. The 018, it's a great one to pick up. Like I said, it's neck heavy. Mine is anyway, to do with this modified low oval, but it all comes down to how you hold it. But it's not going to hold itself up. I don't have any problems with it. Clear sound. I mean, you can check out the other video on sound comparison, but even that, comparing instruments is hard. You really have to like be there in person, put this down, pick it up, put this down. What fueled all this is I've been so distraught over this rare guitar from 1993 sitting in this shop, which inspired a lot of my purchasing because of their certain things they buy, and I really can't afford to do that. And so I was thinking, which one of these would I sell, and picking them all up, just like picking them all up, playing the most basic thing. Say, do I want to sell this? No. The Gibson Gospel I just got. I mean, right here, the 018, the L-00, Gibson L-00 original, the Gibson Gospel over here. In the other room is just the LG2 3/4, and my first guitar, the Gibson 2017 SG Standard. Overall, this just feels like it has no imperfections. know why I'm such a perfectionist. I don't know if I'm in love with the shade of the mahogany neck, like the color of it. No, it's nice enough, but I just don't know. And it's got nice, overall it's nicely colored. Aging toner, the ebony bridge and ebony board, because 018s of the past, that would be rosewood instead, if I'm not mistaken. Let's pick up the L-00 one more time, see if anything comes to mind. Honestly, I don't know why I felt the need to buy the 018 after. Let me go again. After I got the L-00, because I think I just wanted a Martin with more consistent build quality. I think that's really the reason why. This guitar, honestly, the 018 just feels nice to hold. Even though I told you the Gibson L-00 feels more balanced in your while you're sitting with it. This one just feels nice. It feels like a keeper. Like it's one that over time it's just gonna sonically improve. Honestly, you can see why it's neck heavy. Look how big the neck is. Look how small the body is. Just objectively sitting here, you can see that. The fact that this modified low oval kind of juts out here over by the nut only adds to the weight of it, only adds to it going downwards. I would have to play a vintage version of this. And then make that comparison, but I can't do that right now, unfortunately. But nevertheless, it's a modern incarnation. I think it's fine. This one needs new strings on it. It's just very solid, and it has nothing you can point out to say any flaws in it. And there's something to be said for that. It's a nice looking, nice sounding, nice recording instrument. It's just for fingerstyle, I find it a little bit quiet. I don't even remember that new piece now. Comes down to your attack. But like when I was playing the Gibson Gospel the other day, and you can hear me on recording saying, "This sounds like air. This sounds like nothing." And there's a reason a lot of those singer-songwriters go for Gibson, especially that hummingbird shape. Because it doesn't interfere with the voice. It doesn't deter or detract from the voice, and you'll notice a lot of them go for those. Whereas this would not be a bad choice for solo, for just, around Christmas time. I'm already wearing red. Alright, so let's check out the L-00. And not to mention the alligator case. Yeah, not to mention. Oh, here's a look at the headstock. Look at that. Classic, That's East Indian rosewood head plate. You can see there, it's see. If you're wondering what that song was, that was Sleigh Bell Rock. Oh, Santa. Alright, let's see, pick up down below again. This thing cuts off after 30 minutes, so that means we're on our last, wrapping it up, basically, in other words. This, when you open up the case, the L-00, it's got that classic. It doesn't have the white pick guard, so you can't call this a tuxedo look. It does look classic. No, but I hate to, my thing is I hate to have a brand new guitar that the bridge needs to get re-glued. Why? It's foolish. And it's not due to humidity or anything else. It's due to the factory. So that is irritating. It's got the very nice finish on it, but you can see, and I know this is nitpicking, but with the Martin, all the fret markers are kind of universally even. Whereas with this, they're not. They're just kind of, one's a little bit up higher, one's, and that's one of the first things I noticed, and that's not a big deal, but I'm just saying it's there. Sometimes little things like that reflect in other things. Like if a guitar has the fret sprout, it might be the indication of how it was kept in terms of humidity and whatnot. This, one thing's down here, one thing's up higher. No, that could be an indication of how the whole thing was made, honestly. It's like, oh, it was just kind of, let's get this thing out, L-00 original, check, 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 put it in the packing. Because there's no need to, when you buy something from a shop, brand new, to have a flake of glue pop off and leave an indentation in your fretboard. No matter how small, no matter how negligible, whatever, it's, that's just the fact. And the Martin, I like the Martin, and then after getting those two, then I started dipping my foot into the vintage market, so it's hard to find one guitar that does it all, honestly. It's, you want to take little bits of this and that, and like I said, they all have different applications as well. So this video is going to cancel out pretty soon. What was I playing? Oh, I was doing this. See, it's louder. It's louder and doesn't want to move. No, but that was a pretty good demonstration of it, because I don't want to sell this. A Dreadnought would not replace this. And I don't know if putting elixir strings on the 018 would even replace this. I don't think it would. So despite its flaws, I'm keeping it. I think I'm keeping it. No, I think I gotta keep it. No, just get back to work. And I don't know what's gonna happen with the other one. How does it feel in your hand? It feels fine. It just feels very different to the Martin, and not just because of the finish. But the finish is a sticky aspect to your left hand, but it just feels different. More balanced. The Martin feels like it's in a slightly different tier of quality, and not just because of those flaws, but it just, and my old Gibson feels different. They're all different. You can't buy them all, or you'll go broke, or you'll run out of space. But This one I find with elixir strings, maybe elixir strings do this to every guitar, I don't know, but listen to that. It's thunderous. It's a thunderous tone. I said I wasn't going to play, but no, I can't get rid of this because in terms of jamming the blues, I don't think it gets much better than that. I mean, unless I wanted to, you know, spend an arm and a leg, and that's what this was about. This was about comparing two guitars that feasibly you can go out and buy. You can read the specs. You can order it from your preferred retailer. So that's what I recommend you make a decision based on what I've told you here. With this, certainly get elixir strings for it. The Martin, you know, they each kind of serve their own purpose, but they're both small-bodied acoustics. This one happens to have the pickup system, which, you know, it's up to you whether that's a factor or not. But this guitar buying business is unbelievable. I've had a headache the past 3 days because of guitars. It's no joke. And what else I can play for it? Because this thing's about to cancel out. Plenty of overtones on this guitar, and same with from my opinion, same with the Martin. But compared to the Gibson Gospel, where there isn't. Gibson Gospel with square shoulder dreadnought shape and laminated back has, like I said, sounds like nothing.